Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fire here on NNPA and Black Press USA. I am your host, Taylor Thomas, and so excited to be back. Took a little break, and now we have some really exciting guests to talk to us about the very interesting and lucrative business of, yes, comic book collecting, selling, trading. Yes, we have joining us now is Who Dat, and we have Shawn M. Hey, Who Dat. Hello,
Hello,
how
how
are
y'all
you?
doing? How's everybody doing this evening?
We're excited to have you guys here. I think I was telling you Who Dat before we actually went up on this screen that I think there's a little bit of a geek inside of me.
Yeah.
I was really excited about this. And for full disclosure, yes, the guest below, that's my brother. So we started talking about this, about him getting into this auctioning with the comic books. And I just think it's a whole another world, you guys out there. So I really look forward to delving into that. So let's start off with you, Who Dat. How did you get into the business of collecting comic books?
Well, my idea for comics was as a kid. I used to read them, didn't purchase them because I was into sports and into sports cards, but I always did look at them when I was growing up. And as I got older, as you get older, you get your own money. So you end up buying the purchase stuff that you grew up with, stuff you remembered as a child. So that's how I kind of got into it. So I said, let me get the things that I kind of remember as a child that I really liked. And then it just progressed as from that moment. Because it feels like once you get into comic collecting, it's a big world. It's a big world.
And I can see Shawn smiling down there. So I happen to know, but I'll let you answer for the guest here. When did you first fall in love with comic books? And maybe you can tell me what the first comic book you fell in love with.
When I first comic book I fell in love with, it's a comic actually I got back when I got back into comics. It was Black Panther. It was a series where Shuri, Black Panther's sister, took over the mantle as Black Panther because T'Challa had got injured. So once I got back into it and I read that storyline, and a lot of that first few issues, actually artwork was done by African American artists as well, and I really got into it more. It got me back into it, back into it, and that's what I would say. I always loved reading it, but that made me, it kind of brought back memories and got me back into passion of comic book collecting again.
So Who Dat? I was one of the people who watched Black Panther and had no idea that there was a comic book attached to it. So with you loving the comic book first and then seeing the incredible work done by Chadwick Boseman, what was that like?
Seeing that come to the big screen and seeing that representation that a lot of us, African American males don't have, it meant a lot. And it meant a lot, not just to me, but I know a lot of young boys who actually saw that. So to see that just coming on the big screen and it wasn't a satire, it wasn't a comedy, it wasn't, a killer shoot 'em up. It was something that kind of like uplifted us and said, hey, this is what we could have been most likely if we weren't. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the word, but it was like this is how this is how we would be, if we were nobody had touched our country. So
Wow,
I thought that was a lot and had a great cast, and you can't speak more on anything. And then people showed the movie love. I mean, it made over 800 million in the U.S. just in the U.S.
Right, exactly, exactly.
So that shows you when you put some high qualities, even if it's a superhero movie, people will go out and see it.
It was just well done. So Shawn, what was your first comic book that you fell in love with and that solidified you being a true fan?
So I started collecting because I started playing when I was in the streets. We used to play superheroes, and but unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of Black characters to look up to. So a lot of the characters that I liked and I looked up to, like Thor, and they were white. And the ones that I did see, like Luke Cage, I just it just seemed more of like the exploitation, like the Black exploitation movies. So I didn't have a lot of Black characters to look up to when I was younger. But Thor and Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man was my number one. And I have one book in my collection I've always told everybody that I will never, ever sell. It's
Me too.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, we talked about this. Mine's Amazing Spider-Man 62. And that was a book that one day my sister had bought for me for my birthday. And it was one I needed, and it was awesome shape. I just couldn't believe, that it's just a lot of sentimental values. It's not my most expensive one, but yeah, that one will always stay in my collection.
Wow, that was so sweet of you to say about me. Wow, I had no idea. So is it safe to say who that in Yahweh 2045 that you always have one or two books, no matter what, you can't offer me something for it. This is a personal thing.
Yeah, I think everybody who collects comics, I've noticed, talking to many different people, they always have either one book or a group of books that they will not sell. They'll pass it on to the family. And I actually have two different things. I have one book I would not sell, and I actually have a run of books I will not sell because I'm building a collection for my daughter, and I won't sell those unless I'm upgrading them for her, and she can do with them as she wants when she gets older. She wants to use them for college. She wants to keep them to pass it on for her. Perfectly fine. That's been my new goal, and I've been slowly doing that. But my biggest book that I will not sell, and it's not even dealing with prices, just dealing with stuff I remember as a kid, is the Ninja Turtles #1. What? I have, just because I grew up with it. Yes.
But which is expensive though.
Really?
I mean, it is expensive, but yeah, it is expensive, but.
And I understand this is relative to the question I'm about to ask you. Obviously, something's only worth what someone will pay for it. So roughly, how expensive can some of these comic books get?
What did the Superman one just sell for? Was it 1.8
million? No, it was over a million.
It was 1.8 million, right?
I thought it was way over that, I think.
I'm in the wrong business. Are you kidding me?
Put it to perspective. They have a Bronze Age book, how they do the comics. They have Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age. So they had a Bronze Age book, which is, I think it was Marvel Spotlight #5. I think it was the first appearance of Ghost Rider, who was played by I can't think of his name, but escapes my name. But he was played by an actor that Nicolas Cage, who was heavy in the comics. A 9.8, which is the highest grade they have for that book, I think sold for over $200,000. Yeah, so it's the comic market and the movie market have gone hand in hand, and the prices can be very, very outrageous right now. I want to say outrageous because it's been very good. The market has been very good in the comics, and like they can get very expensive. Like the Turtles one that Yahweh was saying that I actually have it here. I can show it really quickly.
Yeah, please do.
This book, was my ultimate.
Okay, that's
book
in a case. That's crazy.
Yeah, they what they do is they grade the books. They give it the grade here.
Okay.
And the highest grade you can get is a 10, but that's very rare. A 9.9 is very rare, but besides that, but this one got a 9.0, and it's the first print of Turtles #1. And like I said, the reason why I wanted this because this is a cartoon that I remember watching heavily and getting the toys and wanting everything Ninja Turtle. I had Ninja Turtle blanket, pillow, curtain. You have it. I had everything Ninja Turtle because my mom would tell you that I caught a fit when we moved out of our original house and she left my Ninja Turtle curtains. And she didn't bring it with me.
You remember?
I remember.
It's amazing. It is amazing. So I remember Shawn liking Shogun heroes. That's not comic book people.
Shogun Warriors.
Shogun Warriors. Oh, sorry. See? He's like Warriors, and he used to go crazy.
It is a comic book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So listen, how do you guys? Okay, so how do you find out people that are perpetrating? They act like they really have a good book, or are there people like that out there that try to?
I'm gonna tell you, our community, for the most part, you're always gonna have bad apples and everything.
Okay.
For the most part, our community is a great close-knit community. It's built on a lot of trust, and you like I said, you will have some of those out there, but we try to weed those out, and we stick with good buyers, good sellers, and things like that, and just good people that have great shows. There's a lot of aspects to it that's not just buying and selling. It's just talking about it, like talking about the new books, because you'll buy a comic book on New Comic Book Day just to read it. And,
okay.
And
but
like,
how do you connect? Like, if I bought a comic book, where do I go? Will I get something in a packet that tells me where I can find fellow comic book?
What's so good? What's so good about 2021 is that you don't have to go far. Google is your friend. Instagram, so me and Yahweh have our Instagrams on it. Instagram is a huge side of comic book collecting.
Okay.
eBay, Facebook, they have tons of Facebook groups that you can join. Sometimes they'll ask you questions like, "Hey, you want to be joining in this Facebook group of comics? All right, who created Superman?" And they'll actually like that question, so they want to know if you're really into collecting.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
because they only want to talk about certain things, and that's no politics, nothing like that.
And they use their rules and stuff like that, and it's very cool that they have that aspect now in the day and age we have, because if Shawn could tell you, Yahweh can tell you, is that,
hey mom,
years ago we didn't have any avenue. You had your comic book shop, which we call it LCS, local comic book shop. That's where you had to talk about things, But now with the inventions of cell phone, internet, me and Yahweh, I feel like he's one of my best friends on here, and we haven't met yet, but we interact enough through stuff like this, StreamYard, Instagram, that wouldn't have been able 20 years ago.
Now, you mentioned about your daughter. How old is your daughter? And I think you sent us some pictures.
Yes, she's 6 years old. She just turned 6.
6 years old.
I just turned 6, and and this is some of the stuff some of the stuff we used to do early on when I could tell by the background. This is way before my wife. I have to shout out my wife. My wife helped me out with my background. We would just do some unboxings. I would buy stuff because it's like Christmas. We unbox stuff.
Oh, wow.
You could win stuff, and I didn't even think about winning. I saw this and I said, I think I won something. So I asked her to come join me. We took some pictures, and you could tell by her smile, she was happy.
Yeah, that's a 9.8 book rating.
Yes.
Now you have some other pictures, I think, with one of the actors. Okay, what is this?
This is Ken Lashney. He's African American artist. He lives in Canada, but as you can tell by his attire, he's a big Saints fan.
Look at him, yeah.
And but he's well known for the Black Panther series I was mentioning. He's done Spawn. He's done almost DC, Marvel, everything you can think of. But he always comes back to, I always say he always comes back to an African American character, because he went to do Spawn recently, and I think he's doing Miles Morales, if I'm not mistaken. But
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think he is, but I know he's done it in the past. This is a statue that a friend of mine sent me as an AOK.
And what's an AOK?
AOK is an act of kindness. A mutual friend of me and Yahweh's, Tacoma Comics, sent that to me because he said, "Do you think your daughter would like this?" And I said, "She would love it." To see that representation of a superhero that looks like her, and that she can have, as far as that side of things to look up to, is like, oh, I can be a superhero, and nobody can tell me otherwise, because she's a superhero, which the character's name is Riri Williams. And she was more ecstatic than I've seen her when she's opened up gifts, which made me smile.
So with that being said, and keep that picture up though, but with that being said, Hudat, and this is for both you and Yahweh 2045, what do you think at the current comic book market for people of color, and how does it affect, your business?
I think the sky's the limit. I think Black Panther, the movie, was a test.
Okay.
And when they saw how much revenue it made, if you notice, a lot of African American projects were getting greenlit. So it's all started from that side of the comics, and as we've been seeing, a lot of people have been cast. We've seen I can't think of the actress's name, but they have was in Scarlet Witch and was it Vision and Scarlet Witch, African American female. She I think killed it in that role. Yeah,
Monica
she's supposed
Rambeau.
to be Spectrum or Monica. Yeah, she plays Monica Rambeau, which I even love because Monica Rambeau is a Louisiana character. She's from the South with that name Rambeau. Yeah,
right.
so it just makes you smile, and then you see people like Anthony Mackie, who's from Louisiana as well, who plays the Falcon, and he actually brought those things to the South. But I think this has done a lot for people of color, and I would say females big time. Like I said, the sky's the limit. I just can't wait to see what Marvel or DC or Warner Brothers has, in the future.
Now, you two work together as a team, and you guys do what's called comic book auctions. Can you please explain that to me? And how does it work? Because I heard that Yahweh 2045 will be up for hours at night, not taking care of his family. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
I guess that's me too.
You guys are in trouble.
Well, I'll quickly say, I'll let Yahweh answer it. But you have to have a balance, but
okay.
Of the auctions, but the auctions I've noticed, especially on YouTube or even on IG, because Instagram people do claim sales. It's brought another avenue for people to purchase comic books other than eBay.
Okay.
And you don't have to worry about paying a high inflated price as you might have played on eBay or a convention. Because I know convention is, everybody knows what conventions are, but they have comic conventions where you can purchase items. And a lot of those people that sell them have to increase the price because of the price of having conventions. And everybody knows about travel expense, booth expense, all that stuff like that. And they have to build that in. And we thought about a different way of getting people great deals of books of characters they really like on a different avenue. And I thought it was a good idea, and I'll let Yahweh take it from there.
And the thing about these auctions, I'm trying to think how, because when I first came here in Georgia, I didn't have anybody to talk to about comic books, and I was actually on the verge of selling my comic books. And then I met a good friend, Dustin from Two Brothers Comics, and he was like. He befriended me, and we started talking. I had somebody I can chat with, and then he told me about this community, this YouTube community, and I started joining the auctions, just seeing how it is, and met a bunch of good people, and ended up running into Hudat, and I was on his auction first, and in the auctions, it's mainly about. You think it's about selling. It's really about having fun first. Like, you want to have fun. Like, if you watch the auctions, we're crazy, we laugh, we joke, and we want it to be selling is secondary.
Okay.
As people, we go here to have fun, to get away from, whatever work day we have, or and just enjoy ourselves. This is our hobby. And even after the auction, because we use StreamYard as well, sometimes we're on it to like 3-4 more hours after the auction.
But how does it start off? Are they going 1.1.1? I mean, how does that start off?
No. Well, how does it start off? Quickly.
For auction,
we don't start off like that.
9.6, Invincible number 100, blah blah blah.
Wow.
And then we'll put what the price is on there, and basically let people start bidding.
And while they're bidding, we're just talking and joking.
Yeah, we're just talking, explaining the book, having fun, joking, shouting out the chat, which like y'all have been highlighting. We do that a lot on it, and it kind of makes people feel. I think that's in my opinion. I think it makes people feel more into the auction when you're having fun,
the person,
laughing. You see the person who's selling it. You're highlighting people. A lot of times we give away stuff, so that just, I think it infused the auction, and it's a great, it's a great another, yeah, you know.
How do you purchase it? So if I see that your book that you had there, Who Dat or Yahweh 2045, and I want that, how is that done?
So we have several ways. You can do PayPal, Venmo, Zelle.
Oh, okay.
You know, any way like that you feel comfortable. Do
Sure.
goods and services, or you can do like we're trying to do more Zelle because it's more secure.
Sure.
For both the buyer and the seller.
Yeah.
And usually if you have PayPal, you have Zelle. But speaking of which, so you have this guy right here, Promiscuous Time Traveler. You got Kyle, and then you also saw Sands Group on here. These are some of the people that we sell with or sell to.
Okay.
And when he talked about AOKs before, this is how close we've gotten.
And AOK is act of kindness.
Yeah.
Right? I got it.
Out the blue, like Kyle used to buy for me, and always out the blue, he hits me up. Hey, I know you like these books. He bought me a bunch of books and just send them to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know, that's how the community is. Yeah. Sands was like, no.
Sands sent me this. I was
Sands.
What is that? Wait, Norman, can you flip on? What? My goodness. Donatello.
This is a Funko Pop. Yeah, this is a Funko Pop. I didn't have this character out of the 4 turtles. And Sands Group Collectibles, he said, "Oh, you don't have this? I have this one. I'm gonna send it to you." And I said, "Oh man, I appreciate it," because my loving wife found the other 3, which I didn't even ask her to do. So it kind of brought her into collecting, and I thought, you know, and he just helped finish off that.
Hey, what's up, sister Silver Smith? That's Jeff's sister.
It's you know, it's and to go back onto like the how collectors have been increasing with the graded comics and other stuff. Like people love graded comics because it's a way that I can tell you what I think the grade is. Yahweh can tell you what, and you can say a different grade. We all can have different grades, but a lot of people mutually respect a couple of grading companies, and if that grade company says that, we will tend to agree with.
Okay.
We might say some discrepant, but we tend to agree with. Like, I know I have a picture on. I sent you guys about this guy. This is Luke Cage Hero for Hire, which they did a Netflix show about, and I'm hoping that the guy who played it comes back. Yeah. But this was a CGC graded book that I bought on an auction, actually called Comic Link, and when I saw the character on Netflix, and that's Michael. I think it's Michael Coulter, if I said his name correctly. He played this character, and he is tall. I make him not look as tall as he is, but he is tall.
He's tall.
Yeah, but it's those graded books. People feel more secure about when they purchase them. Like, you know, they say, "Oh, that's a 9.0." I believe it's a 9.0.
But wow. Now saying that too, though, they are. There's some people that do not like graded books, and then there are people that like certain buyers sellers because they either trust what we say our grade is going to be. Because a lot of times what we try to do is, if I think it's a 9.8, I'm not 9.8, say a 9.0, I'm going to say it's probably about an 8.5 to 9.0. We don't want to oversell the book, and then you have buyer's remorse. So we always try to
undersell it, undergrade it, or you want to say,
yeah.
Now you just had Sands Collectors Group just say that the pandemic, Sands Group Collectibles, one of the effects of the pandemic, tons of people got back into comic books and have reconnected to this hobby. So has this been really lucrative for you guys, for the ones that you want to sell?
Yes.
Yes, and Marvel has helped that as well, because they kept doing with movies and TV shows. So it has helped a lot. People are at home. People want to still do things, so they start collecting again, or they start getting into collecting. They said, "Oh man, that Captain America! Like, oh man, I want to see what his first appearance is at." You know, they like, "Oh man, Falcon. He becomes what book was he in?" And so I've seen it a lot from the pandemic. It's kind of going. It almost like really when the pandemic started, like comics were increasing over time because it's a limited source. Like they only made so many of them. But when the pandemic came, it kind of like shot up.
Yeah.
It shot up because people didn't have nothing to do. Nobody was going to sporting events.
Well, I know we have a little bit. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I know we have a little bit of time left, and I know one thing I want to say is for new collectors, people ask a lot on like, what should I collect? So here's the thing: collect what you like. Like, read the book, find out. If you collect what you like, you'll never go wrong. Okay. Okay. There's some people that just collect for spec, because some people came in from like the stock market and things like that, and they've been speculating on books. Because we have blue chip books that do nothing but go up. That's all they do. Okay. Every year they go up, and they're good investments. Like, look at this. This is number one, goodness. Fantastic Four number one in the 3.0, which is crazy. That's a high grade, an expensive book. That is a blue chip book. That's a Microsoft stock. Like, I'm telling you. Like, and
which is funny because this book I think is more expensive than this book.
Really? Okay.
Now that Turtle book has a cult following. That you will. Yeah, there's not as many people out there. Yeah. But the people that are out there are serious. They are not just they're not just fly-by-night investors.
And to
I got
add
a
what
quick
he
question
said,
for you guys. The acronym FOMO. You guys, what is that?
Yeah. Fear of missing out. So
fear of missing out.
What happens there is people like here's a good one. Something's killing the children. It is now. Something's killing the children. Yes, this is a great book. This came from Sans. Sans gave me this because I bought the books, but I couldn't read them because I was collecting them. I was speculating on them. So he gave me the trade paperback so I can finally read the story. So thank you, Sans. Wow. But so people are now trying to buy. This book just came out in 2018 or 2020?
No, it was 2019, I think.
2019. And the number one is now in the 9.8 going for about 2,800.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So
wow.
When people when you talk about fear of missing out, people might want to. They end up paying that premium when they should have bought it a lot sooner. Don't it's like stocks. Don't buy high, buy low. But
and I want to touch on something that Shawn said. Like he said, collect what you love.
Yes.
And then love what you collect.
Okay, I like that. I have to ask you this. This is a sidebar question now, and it's still on the comic book issue. So, what are your feelings about Black Lightning? Because I know it's a TV show I've been kind of catching up on.
Me and my wife love the series, so I'll just say it like that. We love the series.
Great.
we were hooked. We were hooked.
Yeah, I'm still on season 2, episode 14 now. So I'm like, oh my gosh, because the daughter is getting the powers and she's burning up. So I get a chance to sit there and say what I would do with my powers. Boy, there'd be a lot of people.
The city, on that one, right?
No.
It's play.
You told me the ending. Oh my God. I tell you, Yahweh 2045 and Who Dat, how can we connect with you? These IGs are how we can follow you and find out what comic books you're selling and learning the communities that you guys are in.
Yeah. Both of us, like I said, we have our IGs here. You can connect us through IG, and then you can get through us from IG is our YouTube, where I do my auction and I host. Doing Fridays and Thursdays, alternating, but you'll hear people like Yahweh, myself, Sans, who's in the chat. You'll have in Game Swappers. They have a great community. Sister Silver Smith won't be there, but her brother, who is Jeff Silversmith, he joins us, and so it's a great time. You can connect with us on all those different avenues for social media. I think and it's
all from so many different walks of life. Like
we just have to have you guys back because I just found out I'm gonna AOK from Sans. He just said that. I just saw that. There you go, Taylor.
Taylor, he's
I'm excited.
With you.
I'm really excited about this, and I love when we talk about things that just show African Americans. We do all things. We don't just do. We're not in a box, and I love that. And it doesn't have to be just about Black comic heroes, but I love this. I really do, and I know that this community is a tight-knit community, and I really would like to invite you guys back before the end of the year to let us know what's happening, maybe what's coming out. I know our next guest, thanks to you guys, is going to be talking to us about a very exciting project. pertaining to an African American comic book series that's going to be coming to HBO. This is crazy. This is really exciting.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not gonna say who he is. I'll let you do all that, but he's an awesome dude, great guy in our community. I love chatting with him. Love when he gets to come on our show.
Very enthusiastic. He made it to me like you can talking to him. If I have a bad day, I feel like I have a better day.
Oh wow! I'm looking forward to it.
He's very passionate, and what you want in somebody who is doing something like that, he's very passionate about it, and
he's doing big things.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of great things, and I'm excited to see how far it goes, because I actually bought some of his books and some of his series when it first was coming out, and this is way before anything of HBO, like you said. So
yeah,
I'm very excited about him, and I always chat with him on Instagram.
Why don't we do this? My producer's signaling. You guys stay right there. If you've got to go off, I understand. Let's introduce our next guest, Sebastian. He's the creator of a very exciting comic book that will be, hello, Sebastian.
Hello.
That's going to be coming to HBO. Sebastian, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. You just gave me the big screen. I'm just totally by myself. Good Lord, what's going on?
What's up, man?
Exciting.
What's up, folks? How are you guys?
Awesome.
You have your goal, Stranger Comics, and really, how did you come up with that?
Oh boy. Well, it's funny. So back in the days, I used to run a record label for a lot of years, and during the time I was running a record label, I was a super nerdy dude. So I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
Kids, keep playing. Don't believe what they tell you. There's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and running around in my mum's bathrobe, wielding swords and just being a super geek. When I wasn't up to no good, doing a record label, kind of the juxtaposition of my life, I guess. But yeah, so when we round down the record label, what's up, Sands Group? What's up, Craft Beer? When we ran down the record label, I was like, okay, I had these ideas for these characters and these stories and so on that had been with me since I was a kid, and we kind of met with a lot of comic book companies to publish the stuff, and a lot of them essentially felt like it was kind of a moment of, well, this could be good during Black History Month for our Black History Month announcement, and it felt very kind of vapid and vacant, and from a lot of the folks that it felt surface. That felt like, oh, we'll slot this over here, and so essentially to protect the integrity of the characters and the creations and the culture, that I was like, I guess I've got to start another company again. So that was the birth of Stranger Comics, and I was also madly in love with the old Japanese Kurosawa movies, and then the Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns. So it was like The Stranger. It's got mystery, the man with no name. So it was some amalgamation of, it was hilarious. In the early days, you guys might not know this, I was like, okay, guys, what we're going to do when we go to conventions, we're going to wear suits, fedoras, masks, and we're going to be Stranger Comics, right? Just the mysterious crew. We just come in on deck. Halfway through the first convention, we're like, the hell? It's just like, take
it off.
The mystery is gone, So we have to rely on the quality of the material. And essentially, I'd created this character Niobe since I was a boy. And I'll shut up in a second, as I was ramble. And she was this character Niobe, and it was essentially a reflection of a lot of my inhibitions, my vulnerabilities, and my wrath, and so on. And speaking of variants, funnily enough, that's a great one to put on the screen. Okay, look at that. So who that's got the Biggie Smalls? That's the Midnight Marauders we call Dawnlight Dreamers. Talking of variants and collectors, this was an homage to the Tribe Called Quest classic Midnight Marauders. So we did our variant, and tonight on Instagram, I'll be doing the foil editions.
Oh, you got the foils.
Okay, what does that mean? I'm sorry, what does that mean, foil editions?
So the chaps would be able to tell you better as well. So we create various editions. You have the basic paper editions.
Okay.
Foil editions. So basically they're printed on hollow chrome foil covers.
And they're beautiful.
And they're really pretty. And
low end theory.
The low end theory. And so it's so these they essentially become another collector's piece for your collectors. And so folks that like to collect sets and so on, so they become a limited print run, and then we might do metal cover editions just so folks can collect the sets. But anyway, the Niobe character is this lady right here, and this is the one that kind of made national press. We had no idea.
She's beautiful. Oh my goodness! I think we have the picture of that too that you sent us.
You do, yeah. So this is I wrote this with the actress Amanda Stenberg. Oh, and yeah, there she is. Look at that. And what we didn't realize at the time was Niobe was the first nationally distributed comic in history with a Black female author, artist, and hero. So we made we made history with our little independent company, in 2015, and then things started to blossom and so.
Oh, what is this?
Yes.
This I like this one too. Your artist is incredible. It's so vivid.
It's a whole universe that he's created, and it's many books. It's
okay.
It's like what Kyle said. Like most of us that you see here bought these from him.
Look at the
we have the series
showing. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at, oh my gosh.
That's one of the new ones that's coming. I actually just dropped the link, guys, to the Kickstarter that's dropping on August 28th.
Okay, so this one has, these are things coming out of her. These are the powers
these are already out.
Yeah, these ones have, these comics have been out. So this is an artist named Jay Lee, who's very famous for working with Stephen King on The Dark Tower and Wolverine. Now, this is a great image to hold on, because Niobe is mixed, but the main thing that I wanted to reflect was the duality of spirit that we all struggle with, the light and the dark within us. So on one side, you see the demon erupting from one side of her,
yes,
and the angel, the goddess of light, erupting from the other side, and this constant kind of war within. So what we try and do with our characters is make them as rich and relatable as possible. So you can have layers, right? So some folks come to TV shows and movies, cartoons and so on. They go, oh, I'm just here for the swords and the elves, right? And then you have the layers of like, oh, okay, well, this is also the storyline as redemption and salvation, or things that I can relate to on a human level. And then you can have extra cultural themes. So folks that are Black can relate to, the levels and women and yet so on and so on. So you layer in the connectability for a viewer to get an emotional reaction when they read the comic or they see it on the screen. So that's what we've been doing. Yahweh was saying, like within a big Lord of the Rings-y kind of universe.
Now, how has the response been since you came up with this incredible, I mean, like I said, the pictures just pull you in, and I didn't see them until I asked you to send me some images, but it's pretty impressive for me to see someone who looks like me, as far as an African-American woman, and ordained with pride and just looking amazing. And it's seemingly in control. So it's, has the response been great? I mean, I guess I can say yes, because we need to talk about the fact that they're going to be on HBO. So that's a big deal, right? That didn't happen overnight.
It did not happen overnight. I've been in the lab tinkering away, for a little bit now. Niobe's been I'm going to be 48 next month. Niobe's been with me since I was a teenager.
No way.
The idea of, I think I romanticized as a young mixed dude, this sense of wanting to belong and what tribe would accept me, right? And could I fit in everywhere? Looking for the sense of how do you connect with your roots, your ancestors, your this, your that, and so on. And I think that just from an early age, that was really a reflection of who I was as a person. And then as I grew, she kind of grew with me. And then I just built stories around her, worlds around her, with amazing other folks who have come in and out of Stranger Comics, and some have stayed, and so on. As Promiscuous Traveler was saying, when we get to the actual creation, then you start brainstorming. You work with artists and pencilers and layout folks and so on. things start to breathe and take on life. And but yeah, as I got older, during the course of running a record business, where I put out old jazz and rare blues and old soul music and so on, it was, I think, if I really think about it, it was all of my boyhood passions and all of the formative years of what I went through as a young dude has been expressed through the books that, you know, I'm able to write, you know, and it's not easy being an independent publisher, because you are competing with billion-dollar corporations. When you really think about the Marvel and DC's pre-Black Panther, as the guys were saying, it was when I started Stranger and I was trying to get investment, they were like, wait, you're doing fantasy comics? That doesn't really do well. Oh, wait, you're doing comics where all the leads are 90% of them are Black? Well, that doesn't going to sell enough. And wait, the main one is a woman and she's mixed. You're like, you're dead in the water. And I'm like, I'm going to do all of it, you know.
But how do you do that? How do you start? I mean, there's not a class where you go. How do you, you know, really start into creating a comic book?
Well, a comic book, you know, if we take, let's say, Niobe as an example. Okay, let's take The Untamed. Okay, The Untamed is where you first meet Niobe, this character. That was born out of a couple of things. My mom always says, write what you know. It was a reflection of a time that I was dealing with in my, yeah, that sounds about right, Ed. That's crazy. Wow. So it was born out of a reflection of my own life, essentially, without getting too personal. But it's a story about a man who is essentially looking for redemption. And the story goes like this. This is the pitch I gave to HBO. And we're in development, so I can't say we're in development.
We're going to claim it for you.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you. So these things take a lot of time, a lot of patience. But the story of The Untamed is this. It's a story of a man who's stuck in purgatory.
Okay.
And after 10 years, the devil comes along. And he says, I'll give you 7 days to reap the 7 souls that murdered you and your family. And he says, well, sign me up. I have nowhere else to be. And he takes a drifter's return to a one-horse town in a huge world. And as his memory comes back in broken shards, he realizes he was a bad dude and maybe he deserved to die, but now he's on the path to save his family. On his path of vengeance, he meets a little elven girl called Niobe. And she reminds him of how old his murdered daughter would have been, giving this man a second chance to be a good man, a father. But he only has 7 days. The kicker is, what if she's one of the 7 souls he has to collect? And the devil set the whole thing up just to find her.
What?
Would you damn your family to save the world? Because if Niobe can stay alive in The Untamed, she grows up to become our world's Luke Skywalker. So
that's a lot of thinking. Wow. That
right?
And I can literally see people loving to see that. You know, we were talking about with Who Dat and Yahweh 2045 about the pandemic and how it's caused people to look for other forms of entertainment. And I think when you see, like I said, you know, I just started watching Black Lightning and just seeing, you know, a man who cares about his community, who cares about his people, who's struggling between family and saving the world. I think people can get into it. And I think the timing is so perfect to have a woman with a series like this that looks so elegant and like us. I just think I could see the world embracing it in a major way, because I do not think the people that put together Black Panther ever expected. I mean, for months upon months, people were doing, Wakanda just Black and white, which was amazing to see that. It just seemed like the country came together. It was so huge. I mean, even I was walking around thinking I could do superpowers, but I didn't have it, you know, and then people would talk to me. I learned about it after, as I was telling them, I learned afterwards that there was a comic book. And I mean, they were really specific about things. I mean, you can't, comic book people, you can't play with it. You need to know what you're talking about. They'll correct you. You know, I forgot what I was watching with Yahweh 2045. And he was going in, Black Widow. Oh my goodness. I mean, he's like, no, that's not how it goes. It was this. And I'm like, okay, let me just watch the movie and I'll ask him later. So, these are true blue fans, and I can just see Sebastian, people embracing Niobe. I just love the artwork and the story and how interesting the pitch that you just told me. That is really interesting, because I think people in public will say one thing, but I think sometimes if you're really facing it on your own and no one's around, I think you'd probably do something different.
Right. I think you're right. And the question you asked me, how do you start a comic book? And for me, it all comes down to the kernel of the idea. What is the idea? And then once you have the idea, then
you're right, Ed. I've learned that now. I've learned that, seriously.
Very true. But once you have the idea, you then it takes shape, it takes form. So for me, I was kind of rocking my newborn to sleep, and I was overtired and dealing with a lot of drama. And I just wrote, I'm a bad man. I would make a deal with the devil to make my family whole. Blah, 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 blah. Day one, I come to town. And I took a step back. I was like, whoa, this would make a good TV show. This would make a good comic book. I've got 7 issues here. And then from there, it was literally sketching out the ideas. And then from sketching out the ideas with my layout artist, Daryl, one of my dear friends, then we were then this. And then we found this artist in Sweden who is painting Lord of the Rings covers. And I think I pretended to be some big shot producer, some nonsense. I was like, we've got this thing and it's going to be big, blah, blah, blah. And then after I told him the pitch, he's like, well, that sounds pretty good, And then I think it's once you kind of, and obviously probably tell I'm not super shy, once you get over the hurdle of the intimidation of the blank page and you start the creation and you're willing to listen to just the most crazy criticism, because at the end of the day, it's the project is more important than the creator. It's the project that connects with the fan, and and then the fan or the reader takes ownership, and that's why we now have Niobe cosplayers all over the world. And it's incredibly humbling. So I think
I'm learning about the cosplay too. I have a question that came in too. Has the sudden influx in streaming services really spawned new opportunities for creators like yourself, Sebastian?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the chaps touched on it earlier with the pandemic being brutal, because 90% of our income as a comic book company was going to conventions. And so when, it hit us kind of like with a left hook, and I know a lot of people it really hurt. And so it kind of forced the reality that you have to adjust and adapt, And so with the streaming, you mean streaming like the auctions with the guys, or you mean, yeah.
Actually, and just streaming, just show people following you.
Yeah, it does. It really does, because what I found is it was like, okay, I put my roll up my sleeves and I start, literally, the guys will probably know, I message people and go, hey, I've got my live going tonight, love to see you. And once I've got you on a live, then I can engage with you, and then I can have an experience, and hopefully like tonight we're doing a mini, if you guys want to come, we're doing a mini poetry competition.
What's
you have a chance to win stuff. So every Thursday I do a live on Instagram around 6 p.m. Pacific.
Okay.
And I either have this competition, or I talk about the creative process. I give people a chance to win stuff, to buy stuff on discount, to get original sketches. And tonight I'm doing a little poetry competition that folks can come on. They can read their poetry, and we'll have some fun, and then I'll give away a bunch of stuff.
His Thursday lives are live.
Really? Listen to you guys.
It's a lot of fun.
They're a hoot.
He gets you into it. Yeah, he gets you into it.
And it's funny because we used to have an auction on Thursday, and they would overlap, but we jump into his and watch his stuff, and then they're calling me to come back to this auction, so I got to jump back over here. So, like I said, we support each other any way we can, and it's just, man, I love the community. It's a really,
so you guys have never met?
Not in person.
Yeah,
they were all different parts of the U.S.
Yeah, we were coming up in a couple months. We're doing a road trip though,
Oh, what?
I'm swinging down to Louisiana, picking him up. Hopefully, I can pick up Nola. Hopefully, he'll come too.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and Game Swappers and Silversmith and us, we're all going to the convention.
Which ones are you guys going to?
The Dallas
Fan. Yep.
So
Dallas Fan Expo.
What's the big deal about Dallas? I mean, I know they do things big in Texas, but is there anything particular about the Dallas show?
It's an expo that's pretty big that we decided to go to. Game Swappers got a table for us. We all chipped in.
Yeah.
And so, Sebastian, is Niobe? Do they sell that? Do you sell them at shows?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, before the COVID, that was 90% of our income. I mean, we were like, I would say we were juggernauts at conventions. Like we obliterated, you know. And
because you're a great salesman. Because like he's an awesome salesman. I'm gonna tell you that now.
They talked really great about you, and I can't wait to read a copy of Niobe. I just love the visuals already.
I'll make sure I give you a very good deal. No, I'll send you some stuff. I'll hook you up. You got the hookup. But the shows are amazing, and I believe somebody said it just now. Is the opportunity to meet people in person and you really connect with the energy of the people is visceral and it's honest. And I believe for us when we're selling shows or even on a live, it's humbling for me, right? Because you're in the lab and you're like, you struggle as a creator with like, I'm kind of awesome, but I'm kind of not great. You know, is this a con? You know, you go through these massive pendulum swings. And so I believe it's a creator's responsibility to pour everything they can into what they're creating. And when someone comes to buy at a convention or wherever, unless it's a $4 comic, and they're like, they've only got a budget of X, right? So they come and they're like, oh, I'm going to get my Spider-Man comic. Wait a minute, if I get this Niobe comic I've never heard about, it's my responsibility to give them my time and the energy that they deserve for taking a risk, taking a shot, you know, with my stuff, you know, in my universe. So those experiences become so we've been doing conventions for many years, and every year it's like Baltimore. I'm like, oh, see a couple, now they're married, now they got a baby, and every year they come, they can only spend like $20, but it's every year without fail. What are they? And that stuff, and then people, I usually get, and it sounds really, I don't know, weird. I usually get about 4 to 5 people bawling their eyes out at the booth from seeing either the kids' books that we create or the comic books that we have, and elders going, "Don't give up, young man." And you know, I didn't have this. Like what you guys were saying, I didn't have this growing up, and they might be rolling with their grandkid who's 13, 14, who's too cool to look at Niobe, but she's kind of glancing, and then next year she comes dressed as Niobe, and you're like, it reminds you of why you do this.
So let me ask you a question. When you go to comic book conventions, are the people who dress up as characters, is that a name for that?
Cosplayers.
So that's what it is. Okay, that's what it is. So they're cosplayers. So then you'll have, so that's what you do. If there's a particular person that you like, because I'm here in Washington, D.C., I've been to the huge convention that's here, and I'll see them all dressed up, and I think it's pretty cool to be able to do that. I mean, they really get into character. Some really think they have the Spider-Man.
It's like dressing up for Halloween without being Halloween.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be great, Sebastian, seeing someone dress up as a character that you had in your head since you were a kid. That's amazing.
It's still like, it's so, I remember the first time I was at New York Comic Con, and this lady came into the booth, and I was like, Niobe's in the booth. And it was just such a weird, like, I couldn't process it to begin with. Like, what's happening?
I am here.
You're right. It was so strange. And then the first time a little girl who was probably around 8 was like maybe a month later, and I was just floored. And then you really take on that, whoa, I got to make, you know, it's a responsibility to honor this character. And like, you know, so there's a young girl that had, her mum reached out one day. She's like, Niobe's my daughter's favorite character. should we do a Naibi themed party? Here's the paper plates we made. Is that cool? I'm like, what? Wow. And she was local. I was like, I'll turn up. And so I turned up, and it was a fun thing. But
oh, how exciting.
It's amazing.
How exciting. Someone just sent in that there used to be a BrawnyCon in Baltimore.
Oh, I'm not here.
Wow.
There's a lot of cons.
I think that deals with the My Little Pony.
Oh, the Brony. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get it. I'm learning.
Know about that, man.
I'm learning this. Like I said, I think there's that geek on my shoulder, and I think it's really neat to have this world and to see people that look like you in all aspects of life is pretty great. And Sebastian, kudos to you. Kudos to you for not giving up on this. I was joking with Who Dat and Yahweh 2045 and said, did he get that picture of me when I was a kid? I was just kidding. I'm just kidding. So listen, you have something going on tonight. Sebastian, can you tell us where and how people can join you?
Yeah. Please, you can follow us at Stranger Comics and all the socials, all the webs and whatnot, or strangercomics.com. If you subscribe, we give you a discount code to strangercomics.com and a couple of free PDFs. Tonight, if you want to jump on 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, come to Stranger Comics Instagram, and I'll probably sound just as manic. Oh, I'll say something really funny. You guys might not have seen this. So you might recognize this guy. Look, an artist literally did this is an original. He did an original illustration of me. And then of the Untamed, Niobe's first appearance, Hiram Melendez, he'll be on tonight. And I said, look, I'll tell you what, we'll do 50 rare versions of this. It's Niobe's first appearance, and I'll split the profits with you. So he's over the moon. So we have 50 of these. And
wow.
I showed this last week. We would have a bunch of people wanting this. So only 50 of these, $40.
And they will go fast.
I guarantee you those will go fast.
This is so exciting. I'm going to start from the top, and Yahweh 2045, I'm going to let you close out, give some parting words, and then we'll go to Who Dat, and then we'll go to Stranger Comics with Sebastian's.
Stop, let it drop. No. Yeah. Say you can follow me on IG at Yahweh 2045. You see us on different auctions and different chats, and I'll be back in the community. I've been off social media for a little while. I've been going through some stuff with COVID in my chest, but I'll be back next week. And remember, collect what you want. Love what you collect.
That is really good. How about that? Who Dat? What parting words do you have for fans and collectors?
He could have used the first line. The second line is mine. So, it's always fun hanging with a lot of those people in the community. So I want to say, you can follow me on Instagram at WhoDat_comics. Check out my YouTube channel, Who Dat Comics and Movies. And when the movies are coming back in, so you're probably going to see more movie stuff from me and my daughter especially. We've been doing some things together as well. So, but check out our auctions. We're doing right now. We're doing on Fridays because of how my schedule falls on. So we're going to be on Fridays on my YouTube channel at 7:00 Central. So that's 8 Eastern. And you're going to have a lot of different personalities, a lot of different sellers. Bringing a lot of different books that you might not be able to see out in public or out and about. And I would say this: everybody who's been in here, check out a lot of these guys' channels, Sands and everybody. So that's what we're all about. We're all about building the community, everybody together. So definitely do that.
And we have Sebastian. I'm going to let you close out. People want to support you. How can we support? What is that?
Do soon.
I've just thought I'd show our little DMX homage that's dropping pretty soon. Just teasing the chat, just teasing the folks out there. First off, Yahweh, I hope you feel better.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. And a huge thank you to Yahweh and Who Dat and some of these wonderful, wonderful folks that host these auctions. I mean, honestly, it's incredibly humbling and super, super appreciative. And Sands Group, like these guys have embraced Stranger Comics and what we do, and that is everything. So support those guys. I mean, those are the guys that keep it all going for folks like us.
And so we want to know how we can support Niobe coming to possibly HBO. We're going to claim that victory for you, because I know we'd love to see her and the story on our local TV.
Yeah, if you want to support Stranger Comics, you can go to strangercomics.com, follow us at Stranger Comics on any of the socials, and then we have a new Niobe Kickstarter dropping on August 28th, my birthday, Jack Kirby's birthday. Come on, I mean, what?
You guys seem like you're too much fun. And listen, I do want to have you guys back on before the end of the year is out to kind of tell us what's happening for 2022, and maybe even give us some hints on some things that we should be looking out for. And hopefully by then, Sebastian, you'll be able to give us a date when we may be able to see your incredible production. Again, Yahweh 2045, Who Dat, and Stranger Comics. Sebastian, thank you so much for joining me tonight on NNPA and Black Press USA's FIRE program. Really interesting to learn about the interesting world of collecting and selling comic books, and of course, really putting it out in the universe. So guys, thank you so very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
All right, until next week, God bless and goodbye.